Are you guys excited about Endwalker? I sure am. I mean, the locations looked pretty cool what they showed during their digital fan fest, which was a pretty interesting experience. I don't know if you attended it, but I'm living in Europe, right? So for me, it would start at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, basically. So I only watched the first day and the first part of that day, so only the first 2 hours basically, because that's where the keynote happened for them to share all the details about the new expansion, and they finally revealed this new job DPS called the Reaper. Now this video is gonna be about the Sage new healer class and the new DPS Reaper class coming in the new expansion Endwalker, because I was just curious to share my thoughts, and perhaps you want to share yours about which class you're going to play first. Because honestly, the way I've played this game for the last 7 years is that I mainly focused on being a tank. So if there would ever be a new tank, I don't actually know. They're very slow on that usually. But if that would happen, well, I probably would play that as well, of course. But my main class is still the Paladin or Gunbreaker. Now, when I first started playing this game, I started out as a pugilist and that turned into a monk. This was way back in A Realm Reborn, right? So the level cap was level 50, and it took a long time to reach that level. Like, now it's so easy to level up with all the XP boosts you got going on in the game itself. Main quests giving way more experience to new players in general, or to a new character, because if I were to make a new character, I also benefit from it. It doesn't matter that I've already played the game for many years. So that's always a benefit, to at least get to max level as fast as possible. Now for the new expansion, I will definitely try the Reaper class, because that looks so badass. I don't know about you, but when I saw the presentation of the action skills, it kind of reminded me of the Dark Knight at first, because of all the red and colorful magic going on. It looked really badass in a way to me, so I'm very curious in how it's going to play. It's going to share gear with the Dragoon, so it is I guess a melee DPS, although it uses a lot of magic, it seems, as well, in a way, as it's attacking the enemy. Like, it's kind of hard to describe all this. You see the video, you will understand what I mean, but we don't know the exact skills that the class will use as of this time. But that's the first class I'm going to be using. Now, most people that play healer, no, they're probably going to be excited about Sage. Now, when it comes down to healing, I honestly only play with a white mage very rarely. I have leveled the other ones to level 70, and I'm kind of reluctant to be a healer, because for some reason I'm kind of bad at it, but perhaps it's just simply because I haven't really focused on being good at it to begin with, like I did with a tank, which I play most of the time. So it also is just a matter of playing it often enough to learn as much about the class as you can, so that you actually become good, because usually I got very nervous in high level dungeons to play with strangers and I would be the healer, because I know with big pulls, for whatever reason, I might screw it up. Although, not gonna lie, if I do this with friends and beforehand I can joke, okay, if you die, oh, sorry about that, right? But then usually we still do big pulls and it actually goes fine. But I guess it's because we're kind of like paying more attention to each other, what happens. It's like if a friend of mine plays the tank and I'm the healer, he automatically also pays attention to sort of if I'm keeping up or not. So, it just helps out a little bit for me. But if you're with total strangers, they might not care. They're like, okay, big pull, and they don't even pay attention to the healer that much, and then I might accidentally let them die. So the Sage, even though it looks really cool, like with the fighting animations that it seems to have, it's probably something I would play and level to a certain extent, but I will probably not play this to the end game or be an end game healer all of a sudden. I'm still gonna be DPS if I'm not gonna be a tank. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, because right now, if I am a DPS, I play the Machinist, and the reason why I do that is because I like being able to run around while attacking the enemy. It's like total freedom. You don't have any positionals. You can kind of be completely crazy with it without worrying too much, other than hitting all the right buttons at the right time on your hotbar to do as much damage as you can. With positionals though, I'm very curious whether the Reaper is going to have positionals, even though I don't really have an issue with positionals, but when I'm a tank, I sometimes see DPS in my party where I know you have positionals, but you're not really doing them. Now, some people would call the DPS out and actually tell them or remind them that it's important to do positionals for more damage, but I usually keep my mouth shut. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but in a way I also feel kind of rude to just start bitching to random people about how they're playing. Unless, of course, it's savage content and everyone has to bring their A game. They have to be just as good as possible at their job in order to avoid reaching that end rage stage where everybody dies, because then, you know, it's a matter of everybody doing a good job and there's no other way. But usually I play the casual content anyway. The last time I did savage content was in Stormblood, and it was maybe it was one of the extreme primals, and it was also some of that that savage, what was it called again? It's the 8-man savage content. Oh, I forgot the whole tier name. Was it the, yeah, I can't remember, like literally I don't have the game open as I'm recording this message, but it was the Stormblood raid stuff that going on, where you had paintings, you had to paint the ground, you had the doom strain. It's crazy that I can't even remember it. It's been so many years ago in reality, actually. Time flies, man. I'm getting old. Before you know it, you're in the grave, rotting away, not being able to play your favorite MMO. That's a scary thought. I hope it won't happen anytime soon, though. But, you know, that's when I did some savage with pickup groups from the party finder. Usually what happens is you spend hours, literally hours, trying to finish one of those dungeons back then, until everybody finally gets what they're supposed to do, because some people are, you know, for whatever reason, a little slow on learning how to play it, and then you have to keep reminding them, do this or that. So for savage content, I can see why you would have to tell people, think about your positionals as much as possible, please, thank you very much. But with the casual content, it doesn't really matter. You're able to finish it anyway, even if you don't play as perfectly as you could. So I'm going to be very curious about the Reaper job, where it will have positionals, and if it's going to be a pain in the ass or not. Because the only thing I dislike about positionals, you know, sometimes when the enemy does this damage circle around him, very close to himself, that orange marker shows up, you gotta move away, and you're like, oh, I'm in the middle of my rotation, fuck you, man. That's usually how I feel during dungeon runs, and that's what I yell to my stream as well. Maybe I should start streaming. Actually, I will. And yeah, maybe people will join in on that over time. I don't know. But if I start streaming, it's still kind of fun to mess around with that. In the background with the gameplay, I am currently working on getting my latest relic weapon for the Paladin, which looks really cool to me. But I'm not gonna lie, all the other relic weapons in this expansion, at the very end right now, where it's item level 535, most of them actually don't look that pretty. I don't know about you, but they didn't look that great to me. But the Paladin one still looked a little fancy. So I'm glad I actually worked on that one specifically to begin with, because for any other class I didn't really finish the relic steps yet. Maybe I will also do it for my Gunbreaker, even though I don't particularly like the look of the eventual relic weapon. But, you know, it is pretty cool to have the, I guess, the highest tiered level that you can get. Although I understood from some streamers that it is not best in slot, or at least some streamers showed me that the current Eden Savage weapon is actually slightly better than the Relic weapon, that are both the same item level, but still the stats were just a little worse, it seemed. At least they tried to use recommended gear option button while having the Relic for 535 and the Eden Savage weapon 535. And the game actually automatically said that the Eden weapon was the recommended weapon instead of the Relic weapon. So it was kind of funny, because he basically threw the Relic weapon away because he thought it looked like shit, was worthless to have, in his opinion. I can agree, perhaps that is the case if you have those Savage weapons. I don't, so for me it's gonna be worth it just for the stats alone, because I'm too scared of doing Savage. Maybe over time I could make a party with viewers on this channel that do Savage content, and we can try it together. I don't know, cross data sender options are gonna happening soon, so no matter where you live in the world, hopefully that will become a possibility of people working together, because that would help out a lot of players. That opens up so much potential for Endwalker. It's gonna be great. I just can feel it's gonna be a very interesting expansion with a lot of new stuff, just besides those two new classes that are really awesome with their effects. So which class are you planning on playing first? Is it gonna be Sage or the Reaper? And then which one are you going to make? Are you like a DPS class player or are you more of a healer? Again, let me know in the comment section below, because healers got respect for you, man. Sometimes it's so crazy to be a healer. Can get a lot of abuse from people. Well, even though I never really bitch about the healers, but I've heard stories, man. Some horror stories on Reddit. You can find them everywhere. Anyways, 6 more months, right? Well, even a little less than that. We can finally be playing the new expansion. I can't wait. We're gonna have early access over here. And I'm definitely going to be streaming it anyway, months from now by then on my channel, when I'm playing through the expansion just for fun, playing the Reaper class, because that one is still badass as fuck. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive Final Fantasy XIV videos on a regular basis, and I'll see you in the next video.